Hello, everyone. Today is another Sabbath, September the 24th today, 2022, and I'm joined here with Michael on Skype. And we are going to embark back into the topic of the Kennedy assassination. And we are going to go right back into where we had left off. And it looks like we're back with Michael here on Elm Street. Welcome, Michael.
Yeah, hello, Brad. Hello, dear listener. Sorry that you have to bear with my sore voice today. and
Not you only, it's me as well. We both
it's you as
both
well.
got hit this week.
Yeah, blame it on the
Uh,
weather. Or blame it on
yeah.
the guys who are producing that kind of weather. Yeah. Yeah, you see, I'm so with all this stuff with Kennedy. I'm really looking forward to come down to the end and conclusions, and we are stepping forward, and this is another step forward. So, what's it all about? Yeah, let's go right into it. I really just want to have more happy subjects in the future, maybe, but the world is as it is, and that's our problem here. For it is just that we try to keep the finger to the nitty gritty, that people really see what's going on in this world. So, Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, the common saying of Proverbs 8:35, that all these people who hate God, they love death. Yeah, so that in every murder, in every killing, yeah, you only find Satanists, because people who admire God and His creation, yeah, they won't destroy any part of His creation, especially not on purpose. So that's what did I do in the meantime? Well, this is my new favorite icon here. Yeah, that's when somebody has an idea. This is my alternative view on the JFK Elm Street happenings in 1963. Yeah, so my hypothesis is what you see is what you should get. Yeah, so you see what you are supposed to see, but you don't see the things that you don't supposed to see. So you have to look. You have to look for the things they don't show you. That's the left side of the Didi Plaza, where the Zapruder film has been blackened out. These are the pilot car and the car of the Dallas Police Department by Jesse Curry. This is the white van in Elm Street, or on Elm Street, visible only in Alkins 5 and in Tina Turner movie, etc. And the Zapruder Gap, yeah, which of course is also the same. Yeah, so they don't show you the things that happened in between. So you look at their symbol, 666 symbol in the movie of Oliver Stone, sponsored by Jesuits. And I don't think that is a coincidence here that also Nelson Mandela, Sovereign Military Knight of Malta, has his captive number also with a 666 in the middle. Very interesting. So I think it was Mr. Fetzer who I came across. And although he has, in my humble opinion, the wrong conclusion that there was the military behind it, nevertheless, it's very interesting to go into the things, because also he has recognized some strange artifacts there. Like a bullet hole through the windshield. Or JFK hit in back. Or that the cyclists here, they're looking at each other. And special Secret Service agent Emery Roberts wearing sunglasses, that's the man in the passenger seat. He orders the Secret Service agent not to react to the shots. Yeah. And Dave Powers, he said that, he was running out of film, and he's smiling. Or is he smirking? I have to enlarge it, I think. Oh, smirking. Sorry. Yeah. But it's not just me paraphrasing some other researchers here, because now we will go into the interesting things in my own kind of research. Yeah. Secret Service agent Greer has stopped the limo because lead car with DPD, Dallas Police Department Chief Curry, is stopped under the underpass to start the ambush. All of this must not be seen by public or SS. That's why all the Zapruder frames between 132 and 133 are being cut or left out. Yeah, that's on purpose, of course. That's on purpose. So what happened there? When we look once again to the Zapruder movie, frame 1 or 2 here, I said that the background looks very strange, and also where is the white van? There are some black boxes here and some other things which are really missed in that picture here. Yeah. So take this picture as your reference, Brett.
Right.
And now I found this interesting document here, the Zapruder movie, or the Zapruder view. Supposedly from the viewpoint from Mr. Zapruder, he looks into the Elm Street, and I said, okay, I will enhance that. And also we will go into Google Street View. Okie dokie, so this is how it looks like today, or maybe 1 year ago, I don't know from which, from May this year. Okay, so May this year it looks this at 6 months ago, 5 months ago. So then you got here an enhancement. And you got here a building where you see it's rectangular, yeah, and it bears some kind of engravement at both sides. So can you see that, Brett?
Not very well, but I can see.
Okay, here you see 2 road signs, okay? 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so compare that with the Zapruder movie 1 and 2. You see here 2 road signs. Okay, but here is a big block. Here's a big building here which has an engravement here. Yeah? You see that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So where is that in that movie here? Yeah, it can, my humble opinion, it can only be that building here. It must be below the street signs or the traffic signs. It must be below the traffic lights, which are here. Yeah, so the only thing I can think of is that building here. Once again, we step back to the Zapruder movie. Yeah. But that's very strange, because if I compare these 2 pictures, I think that this is too much in the foreground here. I find the perspective very strange, because it's so clearly readable from the position of Zapruder that it really astonishes me. Yeah? If somebody else takes a picture here of the Zapruder location, yeah, then you can't hardly see what, okay, maybe due to the resolution, but you can hardly see, although the letters can't be that big as they are on the Zapruder 001, 002 frame. That's why I suggest that this is a faked background once again. Because it's clearly too much in the foreground here. Yeah, so but that's more maybe only my problem. Yeah, this is a Zapruder movie, and now compare that to somebody who stood at the same location like Zapruder. Yeah, and now you see that this building is here, and there are some other buildings in front of that. Where are this building in Zapruder 0? Maybe that building here, but it's very strange because everything has been blocked out with the shadows here. Very strange. Yeah, I think that this is just I can't say Photoshop because we are talking about 1963 or so, but it's very strange, which is absolutely clear because last time, Brett, I think we have looked at the Tina Turner movie with the split, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Sorry, I had
We
my
did,
mic muted.
yeah, with the split, yeah, correct, yeah. And so with
Yeah.
the split, and the split is just simply to hide the fact that Greer had at least 2 attempts, yeah. So that means that why did he miss the first time? Do you think that is an accident, or could it be on purpose? Because I had another idea to that. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. And this time with Mr. James Aldkins or Ike Aldkins, Associated Press photographer. His famous picture you see here, Aldkins 6, Aldkins 7. Yeah, famous photographer. Aldkins holds the camera he used to record the event. Yeah. We know what kind of camera he used, but this is just a camera, but without the lens. Yeah, so this is the camera. Yeah, the lens in identical model is not. Yeah, this is the camera he used, although the lens is not. Yeah, of course he used a bigger lens. So which is it? A zoom. Yeah, a zoom lens for zooming in. Yeah, and so this creates quite a second problem here. These are 2 pictures of Ike Aldkins, supposedly 5 and 6. So if you believe that these pictures were being made by Mr. Aldkins, then you have to ask one question. How did he do it? Therefore,
He must have been running.
yeah, you're on the right track. You're a smart guy, Mr. Yeah. You see, everything has changed in the area of Didi Plaza since then. Yeah, you don't see any road signs. Huh? There is a tree not anymore, which was there. The lampposts have now different height. The pavement has been altered. The storm sewer has been altered. The signs have disappeared, and so some things have changed. But distances have not changed. So if you really compare the location where Aldkins supposedly was, and that must be somewhere around here, because now please compare, yeah, that Aldkins covered the turning of the Secret Service limo. Yeah, you see clearly that is just coming out of the turn here. Okay, so we have to assume that he did maybe use the same zoom lens, so he was a little bit further away. So I think he was somewhere, let's say somewhere here. Yeah. So and then you got a lens, yeah, which is variable, yeah. So you can zoom in, zoom out, yeah. And he stood somewhere here, okay. And then he was filming. Now imagine if the presidential limousine was making the turn in the first place, how fast Mr. Ike Aldkins had to move to get the front shot of Aldkins 6. If the presidential limousine had an average speed of about 11 miles per hour, according to the official sources, 11 for Freemasons, of course, but let's say 10 or so, yeah, then even a guy like Aldkins had a hard time covering, and he could not, of course, overtake the presidential limousine, so he had to go another route. Yeah, so he had to turn, and he had to go down on Main Street, this, here, and once again here, and then to make it over the grass somewhere around here. at least. Yeah, and then it's very hard for Google to keep me there where I wanted, but nevertheless, yeah, I suppose he stood here. You know where he stood actually, because you can see him in frame. What is it? 337 or so. Yeah, there you see him with his bag. Yeah, there you see the bag. And he would tell you up to this very day that he could not shoot the killing of the president because he was so paralyzed. You have to believe it. I don't. Yeah, so 337, yeah, was when Icons is coming in, and you know that 313 is the headshot. Yeah, so it's about 1 second after the headshot. And you know where the position of the headshot is on the DD Plaza pavement. Yeah, so we can assume he stood somewhere around here, maybe. Yeah, so that was the distance he had to cover. And Brett, I don't think that anybody can make it if the presidential limousine would be having the first successful turn on the Elm Street.
Right, right.
So that means that Altkins 5 and 6 also is the best evidence that not only the Tina Turner movie has a split, but that most likely the maneuver of Mr. Greer was on purpose. Yeah, to have more time for people to follow, people like Ike Aldkins for pictures, and maybe some other people with movie cameras, or some shooters to have some distraction. Yeah, so I don't think if Sapuda does not offer the incidents, and Tina Turner movie does not offer the incidents, then that incidents must be very, very important. So that is the first hint for me that also Ike Aldkins was in on it. Yeah, there are no such coincidences. When a presidential limousine is not making one turn, you see that I can't think of a second occasion when that happened, Brett. Yeah, so that's my conclusion. Ike Aldkins outperforms Usain Bolt. And if you really compare Ike Aldkins here, you know that he's kind of a relaxed guy, huh? Now you see that everybody in the DD Plaza is trying to keep up with cameras, and he's totally relaxed. Yeah, he knows that his pictures will be published. Other people, they have to struggle for their job, it seems. Some other people are faking things like, oh, Family Newman, could you please once again smash you onto your grass that I can have some nice clean pictures? Yeah, this is just fakery here, huh? This is the second time Family Newman said, oh yeah, we had to do that the second time. But the thing is that, yeah, he's behaving awkward, I think. But he did make it on time, and now please compare him with the sprinter. And then you know my conclusions, okay? So, what's about all the assassination thing? When they are showing us faked pictures, faked movies, yeah, you can't trust them, but you have to look at the things that they don't show you on purpose, yeah, which I just did. Yeah. And many people are just paraphrasing or parroting, yeah, parroting, or it is parroting, like a parrot, yeah. So it looked like a high-powered rifle. It had a scope which looked in relation to the size of the rifle to be a big scope. Yeah, you see that is coming from the autopsy shot by a high-powered rifle. But look, Texas Department, January 1964. You see, you can fake everything, especially when you are in a certain position in the government. You can fake everything, and they had enough time to fake all the documents. Shot by a high-powered rifle. Sure, Can you imagine that would be stated they're all shot by a small gun? Yeah, then the entire theory would have collapsed. Yeah. So what happened then also between Zapruder Gap 132 and 133? Well, on the one hand, of course, Greer had to do his maneuver back and forth. And before that, Jesse Curry allegedly was stepping out of the vehicle before the presidential limousine, and he had a chat with a Dallas Police Department officer right before the entrance of the Texas School Book Depository. So much for coincidences. So I guess that he was checking orders for the last time, and I don't think there are any accidental maneuvers. So what happened then? Well, what you don't see, because the Zapruder film also does only focus on the presidential limousine, is on the background, which you see in Outguns 6, if that is a correct picture. You see the doors opening from the Mercury car, and that is around the time when some shots who were described as firecrackers appeared in the Dealey Plaza. The problem is that Dealey Plaza is surrounded by buildings, and that means that you have echoes everywhere. So it's extremely hard to make out the source of the shooting, because it is echoing between all the buildings there. But it's a strange coincidence that these doors are opening when the shots were occurring. Some people will say, okay, that's a reaction to the shots, but maybe they have also emitted the shots out of this car, maybe by blanks or by other means. I don't know. Yeah? This is a Mercury, which is also very interesting, because Mercury is a ruler and been seen as a god. And Mercury is also a teacher of knowledge, arts and writers, everything related to communication, and so forth and so forth. And that's very interesting, because once and for all, if you remember the sessions about the alchemical tree of life, then I said that, it's no coincidence, because the Texas School Book Depository is depicted with Mercury. Which means Mercury means also knowledge, education. And what does Texas School Book Depository do? Then educate people. So it's really simple, actually. Yeah? So that Mercury is then moving and making actions when he's appearing the station of Mercury in the Tree of Life on the Dealey Plaza. And Mercury has been known as the trickster. Yeah. So when they have emitted here some blanks or firecrackers, that is just a trick to convince the people that there was a first shot. I know that almost no one makes this conclusion that I'm doing, but I find that very strange that this is happening. I don't know that behavior from a presidential motorcade, that people are not stepping out but just opening the door. For what reason? And you know that these are highly profile politicians everywhere. Yeah, so you can imagine that their Secret Service bodyguards, all people here are armored, of course. Yeah. So then let's move on to Zapruder, most likely 161. The famous Croft picture with Jackie, where everybody is having a mood like going to a funeral, except of JFK. It's about 8 seconds to the fatal shot, but it's just about, because you can't tell, because you can't rely on the Zapruder movie, of course. But just for the heck of it, this is just the Croft picture, when you then see nobody's waving or smiling anymore, but now it's been very concentrated. And once again, I think that tells a lot. But there's something to it. According to the book Matrix for Assassination, the JFK Conspiracy, Croft took a fourth photo at the scene. He believed it was snapped at the exact moment as the devastating headshot struck Kennedy. But when he received his photos back from the FBI, this slide was a complete blank. The FBI told him that his camera appeared to have malfunctioned at that moment. Croft's photos were first examined by the FBI according to a Secret Service memo after he turned his film over to the Denver FBI office. Croft believed the last picture was taken by him simultaneously with the shot which killed the president. There is no doubt refers to frame number 19, very interesting, 19, number of the sun, which is a complete blank, which probably was occasioned by some malfunctions of Mr. Croft's camera or some other fault. Brett.
Yeah.
No?
Or some other purpose.
Yeah. My. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Croft said he had no idea what happened to the photos. Well, isn't there a similarity to the Pentagon attacks? Yeah, where they confiscated all the cameras.
Yeah, of course. Yep. Good point.
Yeah. And sometimes you see two men on the steps there. Sometimes there are three. It's yeah. So that's life goes. This is Betzner photo. According to the sources I have found, that must be around 190 to 198. We know that the Zapruder movie is showing the Stevens freeway sign when JFK is having his arms raised, is about then when President is showing up after the or behind the Stevens sign about 220 something. So 190 could fit, or 200. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what you see. Yeah, nobody is protecting the president, of course. Nobody. Yeah, so. And of course, what you don't see in the Zapruder movie is all the people here, especially also on the steps. Huh? This is a colorful picture here. So this is supposedly 7 seconds before the fatal hit. JFK arrived in the north, Brett. JFK arrived on the Elm Street, on the street of death.
Yeah.
So then the umbrella man appears. Clearly behind the sign. Here from the other side. Around 200 to 220. Looking to the presidential limousine and therefore also looking for Mrs. Kennedy. And there's also somebody who's raising his hand. Okay, so then then we go on. Yeah. Most people think that Kennedy was being struck by a bullet. Not me. I think he was paralyzed. I have a special reason to believe so. And according to the script that we did about the Killer Queen, that source is supposing that Jackie was using a dart gun or some other tranquilizer gun. Okay, but can't prove it, of course. Well, but it's most likely that JFK was paralyzed. I got a very, very simple reason to believe it. I can't tell you the reason right away. It's so simple because the entire time JFK is not looking to his wife. If he was not able to speak about the alleged throat wound, yeah, what would you do when you can't speak? Yeah, you would look to your next help, yeah, and that you get her attention. But you see that clearly in all the pictures. Yeah, it's very strange that Kennedy is just straight looking forward. I don't think that it's a normal behavior of somebody who has been shot in the throat and who wanted to have some help. Yeah, she's the one who has to go near him because he can't. And don't come to the point that, okay, he can't move, yeah, because he's wearing a corset. Yeah, that does not mean that he can't move his head. So I think it's much more likely that he was paralyzed. That's my suggestion. Okay. So much for the so-called magic bullet. Haha. The single bullet theory from Mr. Alan Spector, who was very honored after that theory. Look at this career after the Warren Commission, and then you find out. Yeah, people have said that, oh no, that was not the bullet. Also, the bullet can't have caused these injuries, because there's a contradiction where you can absolutely destroy the entire Warren Commission exhibition or the Warren Commission report. Yeah, that's so easy to do so. Yeah, and that's about the wounds of Mr. Connolly. Yeah. So it's all just a big BS. It's about the Freemason ritual. Yeah, that had to be 3 shots and had to be then in the Dealey Plaza. Yeah, but all the magic comes down from this rituals and Freemason and in the Solomon Temple and all the stuff, and in some chapters of the Freemasonry you find also these magicians, and yeah, there is no single bullet. Yeah, before Kennedy and after Kennedy, it is just a single bullet when in the assassination of Kennedy. Come on, yeah, billions of ammunition has been shot in world wars, yeah, and this is the only time ever you hear of a single bullet theory. Yeah? Can't work. We'll tell you why. It's so easy also. Yeah? So that JFK was losing a speech, but not about a projectile from a bullet from a gun, but most likely a toxin. And they said these Freemason stuff in that ritual from Hiram Abiff, the first strikes blow at the throat, the seat of freedom of speech. Yeah, and that's what JFK also had a problem with, or the powers to be had a problem with Kennedy. And he says, I believe in America where the separation of church and state is absolute. Well, and it's so obvious that they wanted to shut him down. And that can also be a mortal wound. Of course, if you don't receive any treatment, it can be a mortal wound. Yeah, but you see that usually the Catholic truth is relative and not absolute. Yeah? And that's a problem. Yeah? Your first so-called Catholic president, John F. Kennedy, said openly in 1960, I am not the Catholic candidate for president. And it is not hilarious, funny, Brad, that speech has been written for him by a Jesuit?
Really?
Yeah. As far as I know, yeah. How could they expect that Kennedy had the guts to try to keep his promises to the American public? Yeah, well, it gets worse. Yeah. The bullshit actually starts not by the path of the bullet, but by the contradiction itself, because the bullet has to be said to be pristine. There is no other bullet up to this very day that I know of that was pristine after it had occurred several wounds through 2 people hitting bones. Yeah, so that is just a part of Freemason magic, like the thumb lighter of Stan Laurel, Oliver Hardy in Way Out West. Yeah, and Texas is way out west, especially from Washington. Texas was part of the Wild West, if I remember correctly. So this is Freemason magic. Yeah, this is something which is just for the public, and that they say, wow, it's a single bullet, it's the bullet. No, it's not. Yeah, they tried to fake it and said that, oh no, it did not alter the path because they were sitting in a certain angle. No, that's not the point. The point is that it hit Mr. Connolly in the wrist, but he did had his head in his head, and yeah, he did not fall flat, or he did not loosen his head, so therefore he could not be hit in the wrist, or else. Yeah, he's very fond of his head. You see, when he's greeting the presidential or the first lady, usually I would have guessed that he was taking his head off. I don't know if he does that after that, but he's very fond of his head. Yeah, it's in Texas. I think it's also kind of a symbol. Yeah, because it's so hot there, and yet you're just well, don't know, but it's just more as a symbol. What absolutely destroys the credibility of the Warren Commission theory of a single bullet is the X-ray of Governor Connolly's right wrist. Why? Because it's so obvious. Yeah, this is the actor Connolly, best friend of LBJ. You really think that they would have threatened the life of the Texan governor? You really think so? I think he was just acting. Connolly was not aware that his wrist has been injured, Mr. Groden, who has presented us the Zapruder movie in the first place, until after the surgery. Yeah, for his chest wound, because his senses were smashed. That is the official explanation. So if you are struck in the chest and then a bullet travels through your wrist, yeah, you don't notice the wrist anymore. But you keep holding your head, of course. My. And of course, it's also no coincidence that on his... what's the name of that again? That on his stretcher, the pristine bullet was found. What a coincidence. Sure, must have been his stretcher, Brett, because he was the last one who saw the bullet exiting. No, he could not see it because he could not recognize that he was hit in the wrist. That's very strange. But it gets stranger. But Mr. Connolly said that John F. Kennedy was not suitable as a president because he was having Addison disease and a dependence on cortisone. But yeah, then he just moved on into politics himself, and he was elected then as the Texas governor. Yeah, and now you want to have proof that the magic bullet is fake, huh? Yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem. It's just a contradiction now. Okay, I have not incorporated there. I'm so fed up with all the things. It's so obvious, I don't know why. To destroy the theory of the single bullet of Warren Commission is so easy. You can do that in one sentence. The material that the fragments of the bullet have left in the original X-ray of Connolly's wrist is too much of the pristine bullet. Either you have a pristine bullet or you have metal fragments in your wrist. Can't have it both ways. Therefore, your single bullet theory is busted. Let's move on. There are several stages where you can use science for several people. First of all, for the just exoteric people who know nothing. Then the so-called umbrella man is maybe a sign for all the shooters that now Kennedy is still alive, you have to shoot with everything you got. But does that make sense? Simply because when there are shooters from faraway places, aren't they using a scope? Don't they see it with their own eyes that Kennedy is still alive? Where the heck do they need an umbrella man for? That would imply that every shooter has also a second man behind him who's then looking to glass or what and said, oh no, umbrella man is waving, he's still alive. Yeah, while the shooter itself has Kennedy's head or Kennedy himself in his scope. What does that make a sense, Brad? There are certain stages of information and disinformation. The first, the average one, would be for the average public, for the exoteric people who do not know what's going on. And therefore you have an umbrella man there standing and waving his umbrella. And the official explanation is, okay, that's a protest against the appeasement politics of the Neville Chamberlain, the Minister of the Great Britain, during the time when his father of John F. Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, was ambassador in Great Britain. That makes absolutely zero sense. For the conspiracy nuts, yeah, they will claim that, yeah, sure, he gave the sign to all the shooters that they really see that, they really learn that Kennedy is still alive. But am I supposed to believe that these professional shooters, having the order to shoot the United States president, are not using a scope? They would see that with their own eyes.
Right.
Yeah, why would they use an umbrella man for?
Doesn't make any sense.
That would imply, Brad, that every shooter has also a second man beside him, a radio operator or something like that. Yeah, who's then signalizing and say, okay, now it's your turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
but what kind of a logic is that when we are talking about so-called professional snipers? Yeah, they don't rely on an umbrella waving. So I think that you can rule it out. It's just a hilarious, funny idea, but I can't see any value in it. The third one, which I presented to you, was that an umbrella means some kind of fertility womb symbol, kind of fertility for a woman, and black means dead. So that means that it could be maybe a trigger for her that she is starting to make the attempt on his husband, which somebody must have been done on that very moment, because when Kennedy appeared 1 to 1.5 seconds later after this Stemmons freeway sign, he was clearly having problems with his throat. But I think that Mrs. Kennedy was also having a more severe and more secure trigger coming from inside the presidential car. And I suppose it came from Mr. Connolly, for example, that he said, okay, yawn, or something like that. Huh? I don't know what kind of words they used, you will never find out, but I think that Connolly was setting the trigger. Or maybe Greer was then looking back and he yelled something to Mrs. Kennedy. We can't tell because there are only some movies without any sound. But there would be a fourth possibility, and there are of course endless possibilities, what that umbrella could mean, Brad.
Right.
Maybe somebody is just having a jolly good time and was making some kind of remark that only the initiates or only the people who are behind the attacks are just simply getting. I'm not saying that I know it, because I'm not involved in that. Luckily, I have been not involved with any organization, but that just came into my thinking. So what could that be? And I said, oh, well, you see, there's a famous book. It's called Ars Magna, Lucis et Umbrae, The Great Art of Light and Shadow, 1646, by the Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher. Umbrae means shadow, the absence of light. The book contains the first printed illustration of Saturn, that's the planet which is usually been seen as Satan, and the 1671 edition also contained a description of the magic lantern, so the forerunner of the movie camera. And aren't these Jesuits the masters of light and shadow, Brad?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, think of the shadows in the Zapruder frame 001 and 002, where they have overshadowed the white van. So it's a great art to put something in the light that everybody can see it or shall see it, and to hide some things so that you can't see it. Be it the stop of the limousine at the Texas School Book Depositorium, or be it the white van. And that was my idea, that maybe it has something to do that they want to have that as a trademark, that they say, oh yeah, we are the masters of the great movie here, the great art of light and shadow. Yeah. Yeah, umbrella comes from Latin, means sunshade, parasol, diminutive of umbra, shade, shadow. Yeah. So it's an umbrella as well as a shadow. And there you got your great art of light and shadow. That is just a proposal here. Yeah, I can't. Or proposition is a proposition.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's just a proposition, Brett. I can't prove it, of course. Nobody can. Yeah, but that's what's coming into my mind. Yeah, so the average theory of the Umbrella Man is, in my humble opinion, purely fictional. Yeah, a man holding umbrella near JFK when he was killed is absolutely BS, because that was not the wound or what else that got him killed. So it's so much disinformation. Yeah, if somebody would have shot through the umbrella, sure. My, oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah, so that is repetition here. So I highly doubt there was a front shot to the throat. Yeah, I highly doubt that. Yeah, so then we are coming to Zapruder frame 255 with the Altgen 6. So now, just one question. It's just common sense. You are a famous and professional photographer. And in your own city, there is the American president. Yeah,
Yep.
you stepped on the street, although you have been sent away by a so-called policeman from the triple underpass, because you're not allowed to enter the triple underpass. It is restricted area. Nobody has any problem that you step on the Elm Street when the president is approaching you. That means he has to use a telelens, a zoom lens, so to protect himself from being run over by the motor cops, of course. So he has to be away for some safe distance, of course. But, and now it's a big but, you know that he's got a zoom object, so that he can zoom in and zoom out. Yeah. So please tell me, if you would be that photographer, what would be the focus of your picture?
The president.
And what do you see in that picture here?
You don't see the president too well, do you?
Yeah, it's just, I think that the purpose of Altgen 6 is more or less to have a document, yeah, how the presidential motorcade was running and who was involved and all the things, but it's not focused on the presidential limousine. And that's what kept me suspicious from just the beginning from Mr. Altgens. It had not the presidential limousine in its focus, in the center. And I said, oh, maybe then he was more officially there than anything else. Because you know that Mr. Altgens was later on also been seen in the Lidi Plaza totally calm where everybody else was running. Yeah, so he was absolutely sure that he would get his contract, his pictures would be getting printed. Yeah, that behavior you don't have when you fear that you're the last one. Yeah, so I don't think that he was just on occasion there. I think he was being ordered to go there. And that picture here suits it very well. Not saying that he did not make other bunch of pictures. I think that he said that he didn't have his motor camera winder, but yeah, what do I know, huh? Maybe he got two cameras. I don't know. I don't trust anybody. I know that he was killed together with his wife, by a carbon monoxide poisoning, by a
What?
furnace.
Really?
Yeah, we talked about that some 20 sessions before. Yeah, so it's very strange. It was in the 1919s somewhere, but although very strange. Huh? So I don't trust anybody. AP, also Jesuits. Yeah. So Alkins was not being sent away, although that was kind of restricted area, and he must be run over the grass to make it in time. Or he said that, oh, they are stuck, and now I have to. But so you see that they are hiding so much things here from, yeah. And then we come to the problem with the windscreen bullet, yeah, which is of course a problem. I say that it is highly unlikely that somebody would risk the life of the entire, at least 3 people, at least Kellerman, Connolly, and Kennedy, or any bystanders behind that. If that bullet had missed, yeah, then that bullet would have flown directly to the bystanders here. I have a hard time imagining that is a real bullet hole. And it's not a hole in my theory, but the thing is that I would never underestimate the Secret Service, because they have also some gadgets. So I think that it's most likely, or just maybe, it is likely that they have put a hole in the windscreen with an explosive, yeah, with a remote control. Yeah, to make it appear that in that picture is absolutely clear for all the conspiracy nuts that that shot did appear from the front. Because that would imply, that hole and that wound of Kennedy would imply that that shot was gone through the windscreen. But that would also imply that there must be some glass somewhere around here. And what have they gotten rid of? The vehicle, of course. Yeah, so, yeah, somebody from the Parkland Hospital said it was very clear it was through and through bullet hole through the windshield of the car from the front to the back. Yeah, don't trust anybody from the Dallas police, Dallas Parkland Hospital, or what else. Don't trust anybody. I say once and for all, to shoot through the windscreen would imply that somebody had been in the position to be positioned in front of the car. That could only be from the Texas Police Department car of Jesse Curry. That was my kind of thinking a few years ago when I said that, oh yeah, there is a car which you clearly see in Altgen 7, that it was a police car, and it is nowhere to be seen in the Zapruder movie, of course. It has been, it has been invisible. And so from that position out from the trunk, of course, you could have shot without anybody noticing, with a muffler, of course. But the thing is that I highly doubt that anybody would have risked the life of a Secret Service agent and also of Connolly, because Kellerman here has also to organize all the radio control things. Why put him in danger? That makes absolutely no sense. No, I can't anywhere near imagine that that is a real bullet hole. Yeah, that is Secret Service stuff. As well as some other artifacts and dents. Let's go into this. James Take. James Take received a minor wound to his right cheek caused by tiny pieces of concrete debris from a street curb that are struck by fragments from a bullet that was fired at Kennedy. Oh, that is the question here. Oh, that is highly unlikely. Yeah. Besides Kennedy and Governor Connolly, that is also unlikely. Take was the only person known to have been wounded by gunfire at Dallas Dealey Plaza that day. And he was standing here right in the middle of the triple underpass. Now you got two possibilities. First possibility is not to believe him in being an actor. But if he's credible, then why was he injured and received a minor wound on his cheek? Well, where would the shot occur? Yeah, this is the position of Mr. Take. Everybody would say that, oh yeah, that is the final proof that the first shot of Lee Harvey Oswald from the 6th floor window has missed. And I don't think so. Because even the Dallas Police Department says there is no trace of gunpowder on Lee Harvey Oswald's face, so it is highly unlikely that he fired a shot from a gun that very day. So somebody says, okay, that was a mobster from Nicoletti who shot that and missed, and then it hit accidentally Mr. Take. Yeah. But that could also be a distraction shoot, so that the illusion appears that there are some shots from outside. Yeah, all the purpose of all the distraction in the Dealey Plaza is simply to get rid of the car itself, or in the car, people in the car, as originators from that killing, and to put the killing outside of the vehicle. Yeah, the shots outside of the vehicle. Huh? Yeah, and that is also a problem with it. I got, once again, I read that sentence for you. Take was the only person known to have been wounded by gunfire in Dallas Dealey Plaza that day. Now compare that with the testimony, with the witness of Kellerman to the Warren Commission on page 74. He said, "We are hit. Get us to the hospital immediately," he told the car in front of him. And then he said, "Now, in the seconds that I just talked now, a flurry of shells came into the car." A flurry of shells. But, yeah, the only person who has really been kind of wounded was Mr. James Take. Isn't that hilarious? And also the flurry of shots that Kellerman was reporting did not have any effect on Mr. Kellerman, on Mr. Greer, on Mrs. Connelly, or on Miss Kennedy. I have a hard time believing all that luck. Yeah, Take also said that the first shot, maybe that was emitted by that Mercury car, likely to be a firecracker because it sounded different. Take was approached by Dallas detective Buddy Waters, who noticed specks of blood on Take's right cheek. Yeah, so he really didn't notice that he was struck, so it could only be a minor injury. Although it's very interesting to know that the stone where the supposed bullet actually hit Brett, that's under lock and key by the government for I don't know how many years. Yeah. If they lock that concrete block away, I'd say that if there is a bullet to be found in that has a strange other caliber than the caliber of an Italian rifle, Manlicher Carcano. And so that would crash their theory again. So they had to get rid of that evidence too. That's what I mean. You see, they have extracted that bullet from that pavement, and that pavement is here under lock and key in the government, and you can't show it. Yeah, you can't prove it, you can't check it, nothing. Yeah, because most likely, maybe it is not a bullet at all, or if it is a bullet, then it has another caliber than the weapon of allegedly Lee Harvey Oswald, which then would destroy the Warren Commission single low nut theory as well. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, it's under lock and key. Yeah, you don't have access to that concrete block. It's unbelievable. You see how intransparent or how secret the government is.
Yep.
Yeah, and he would not ever have noticed it if he was not even approached by the Dallas detective Buddy Waters. Yeah, so you don't know what is really up to this story here. Once again, let's get back to Mr. Kellerman. A flurry of shells, a jet sonic boom, a flurry of shells, and nobody was injured. Yeah, a bullet through the windshield, Brett, and nobody was injured but Mr. Kennedy. Oh, no, nobody was injured from that bullet, because that was the magic, or the single bullet, which was being shot by Mr. Who was the name? Lee Harvey Oswald, or Lee Oswald, or Harvey, or what else, or Harvey Lee. Yeah, so that means that there is a bullet hole in the windscreen without being hurting anybody. How ridiculous is that? There are 6 people in the car, and there is a hole in the windscreen, and it's not hurting anybody. My. And this is supposedly to be the hole, which afterwards was, of course, been scrapped, this so-called limousine, or stripped, better to say, stripped, and of course been replaced with another windshield. Yeah, sure. But so you can feed all the conspiracy theories. Yeah, or to create the illusion, of course, that there was a threat coming in from behind, from outside. Yeah, so let's try it with logic this time, huh? Kellerman says, I'm employed as a special agent for the Secret Service, for the White House. He said the president's vehicle was transported to San Antonio by cargo aircraft. He says, according to the pilot car, the purpose is to clear the road and instruct the officers along the road that the president is in motion and coming in back of them. Yeah. That does include to get rid of any photographer standing in the street, but okay, what do I know, huh? So he said the next car after the pilot car. So there are 2 cars in the front of Kennedy, which are not been shown on the Zapruder movie. That's the pilot car and the Dallas police lead car. That car on that day, he said, was driven by Chief Curry of the Dallas Police Department. What he does not tell you is he's a 33-degree Freemason. So, and then comes, Mr. Spector, who is the initiator of that single bullet theory, says, how many frequencies were used by your own network? Oh, just one second, hang on. How many frequencies were used by your own network? Mr. Kellerman said 1. Then there comes a representative Ford, which may be Gerald Ford. He says, do you have an alternative frequency, emergency frequencies? And Mr. Kellerman then responds, yes, sir, we do. We have 2 of them, Brad. Can you remember when I said, oh, look at the amount of antennas on the back of the trunk? Yeah? So they have certain frequencies there. Yeah. 2 emergency frequencies. So now you know why you don't hear nothing on Dallas Police Channel 1, and there's also Dallas Police Channel 2, where Curry was saying that, oh, no, don't talk on public. But the presidential limousine was also carrying 2 emergency frequencies. Yeah, and you will never get a broadcast out of that. That would be a matter of national security here. Yeah, so he said, the follow-up car of the Secret Service, there was Special Agent Sam Kinney was the driver. The assistants in charge, Special Agent in charge, Emery Roberts, that was the man who says, stand down, that nobody is doing anything in Dallas here, was on the passenger side. Then on the running board, it was Clint Hill, of course. In the back was William McIntyre. On the right running board, standing forward, was Special Agent John Reddy. And standing, that was the guy, Brett, who was looking behind to the Texas School Depositorium in Alkins 6. And standing in back of him on the rear of the right running board was Special Agent Paul Landis. So, speed, not of interest. And once again, he says, in the seconds I talked on the radio, a flurry of shells came into the car. Yeah, you have to believe that. And he said that Kennedy allegedly said, my God, I am hit. And of course, I would not believe anybody, because these people are all Secret Service. Yeah, all secrets, huh? Yeah. Yeah, so testimony of Clint Hill then. He said Special Agent John Reddy was assigned the forward portion of the right running board, so in opposition of him. Yeah, so that's clear that is John Reddy. Oh, you need that name very soon. So this is here Clint Hill, and this is John Reddy here. And you see once again the focus is on the scenery and not on the president, as Brett so rightfully has said.
Yeah.
So, where is the next problem occurring? The next problem is occurring that the motorbikes are too far behind, so they can't cover anything. Yeah, they're just on one height with the follow-up vehicle. And media is, of course, not covering it. There is a Dallas Freeway who says, oh yeah, look at that, there is a lack of Kennedy getting out of the car even. Yeah, it's really that there's a lag outside the car. Oh, it's so hilarious. It's all so hilarious. Yeah, it's all so hilarious. Yeah, so I don't know where to start because they are all lies and nobody is really paying any big attention. Of course, I will make mistakes too, but you really have to be very careful. Look at that picture here at Altkins 255 or Altkins 6, which is equivalent to frame 255. Brett, you see that is the glove of Jackie Kennedy here.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be her left arm. Now imagine you sit on a couch and you have somebody right beside you. Yeah, and somebody on your right has a severe problem and you want to help with your left hand. Yeah. Would you not rather try to help with your fingers on top and your thumb down than to be shown in that picture here? Really make that example and turn yourself to the right, and then try to have your thumb that high up. Yeah, that means that you have to bend your wrist extremely, or you have to bend yourself. So what I'm trying to tell people is that she's not helping him. Yeah, she's using her strongest finger, which is the thumb, and the thumb is an analogy to Mars, and Mars means war. Yeah, to work against him. Yeah, that you clearly see here because she's using her thumb. That's what I think of that picture here. So what's happening then? Greer is looking back twice, and also Mr. Kellerman is looking back. Yeah, and here's once and twice and all the stuff. And I apologize for not being in a chronological right of order because at the moment I'm so bombarded with all the pictures of Kennedy here. I would need months to sort everything out. Bobby Hargis, that's the motorbike cop on the left side, he said the presidential limousine slowed almost down to a stop, which we see at the Orwell Nix movie. And in the Orwell Nix movie, out of a sudden, Brett, we are seeing 3 people on the stairs. Somebody must be here who was extremely fast running down. Huh?
Right.
Yeah. So the brake light on does not mean that the car was stationary, it just means that the car was slowing down. Huh? Once again, our Freemason newspaper has made a fault. By Kennedy, you have to do sort of 95 lies to get one truth. Yeah, that's the picture here. Yeah, the Dallas Morning News published this photo on Sunday the 24th with the caption, "Horror and fear in the presidential death car as President Kennedy's left foot hangs limply over the side of the speeding death car." Yeah, that's Dallas Morning News. That's the Freemason newspaper, huh? Yeah, but oh, that's also a lie because that's just simply the foot of Mr. Clint Hill. How shall Kennedy move his right foot out of the vehicle? That's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, you see. Sorry, Brad, it's just lie, 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 lie after lie. I can't stand it anymore.
Yep.
I really have a hard time. You see that it uses so much of my time, but it's so obvious. But everything is just lying and just want to make a dime out of the story of Kennedy. So, coming to the nitty-gritty, why did I mention John Reddy? Well, you see that there was a Secret Service order to stand down from Mr. Emory Roberts right from the start in Lafayette Airport in Dallas. Yeah, so that agent was being ordered to not to protect the president on the right side. But it gets worse, because this is the Orwell Nix film from the other side. And you clearly see here that Clint Hill is running towards protection of Mrs. Kennedy. Huh? That's clearly been visible. That is the Orwell Nix film, or what is left of. Yeah, because you don't know how much forged and etc. that film also is. So this is a movie, and you know that the Jesuits have the great art of light and shadow. Yeah, so they will show you that what you shall see, and they will hide the things that you shall not see or shall not get. Yeah, so this is decent quality here. But of course people would focus on the motion of Clint Hill when he's approaching to save Mrs. Kennedy, huh? But that's not the most interesting thing in that video. If I would have not seen a commentator, then I would also not get what this video also shows, and I have to rewind it, and I hope that you will draw your attention now not to Mr. Clint Hill, yeah, because you know that is the follow-up car, but to Mr. John Reddy, because John Reddy is now John who is ready to assist a dying president. Yeah. Now you see that Clint Hill is then running down. Yeah. But what people usually is not see the behavior of John Reddy. So, yeah. Please look at that guy here. It's very hard to cover here. That guy here. He's starting to run, and then he's backing off. Yeah, I will repeat that several times. Starting to run, but then back off. Starting to run, and then back off. Starting to run, and then back off. Starting to run, and then back off. Because he was being ordered back by Emory Roberts. So, that's a Secret Service protection. That's why I said, yeah, you have to take care of John Reddy. Yeah, so nobody was supposed to help the president. Yeah, and some dents in the chrome frame of the limousine. You see, you can also let occur that by a small explosive or so. Yeah? Because if that would be a real bullet here, then where are the fragments? And you think that if the chrome was being hit by a bullet, that there were no flying debris or so, which could have hit the face of Kellerman, Greer, or who else. No one was injured except the small cheek wound of James Stake. Yeah, what a surprise. Yeah, and of course it was the mob. It was Nicoletti who hit the chrome frame allegedly to one source. Yeah, sure. Who had been injured? Who? No one. Yeah, so it's all just a distraction to keep the focus outside of the presidential limousine. Yeah. It's impossible, all their theories. Yeah, the fragments of bullets are too much to be the pristine bullet, also at Colony. That's absolutely impossible. It's just simple logic. Yeah, you don't need any sophisticated science for that. That's just simple logic. Yeah. No one was hurt, even not Jackie Kennedy. It was a wonder that he wasn't taken out. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and Connolly had his back wound but could lean back. Oh, why? There was a windshield bullet hole which did not struck anybody. There was a chrome frame dent which did not hurt anybody. There was a flurry of shells going into that car which did not hurt anybody. Really? Really. You see, it's a bunch of lies everywhere. Yeah, it's a bunch of lies. Yeah, but sure, they have to stick on their official theory with the headshot from behind. Sure. If there would be a bullet from behind, then the frontal part of the brain would have been shot out, but not the central part. But who am I? Yeah, I'm just have common sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so hilarious fun. You see, everybody is pointing to the back of the head as the wound. Yeah, how shall then the shot came from behind? Huh? Yeah. The exit wound is always bigger than the entrance wound. If you don't have military-grade explosives. But once and for all, you see that multiple gunshot wounds of the head and neck. Multiple, yeah. Multiple. Multiple. Great, huh? Multiple. Yeah, so that was one hell of a shot, Mr. Oswald, who did not shoot. Yeah. But you see that you're not facing with truth, you're facing with government. And Roy Kellerman was pushing behind the autopsy guy, the coroner, Rose. Yeah, you can imagine when Kellerman is coming in front of you, and he's armed, of course, and he's got also Secret Service personnel with him. Then who's he to step in and says, "Oh no, you can't have the corpse because it's mandatory on Texan state law that the autopsy must be done in the state where the killing occurred." Yeah, but being shoved by Kennedy aides, he stepped aside and allowed Kennedy's body to be removed from Parkland Memorial Hospital without performing an autopsy. Yeah, sure, they did not want that to happen. They wanted it to happen in their Bethesda Naval Military Hospital, sure. So they can alter anything. And anything is possible because they have the Ars Magna Lucis et Ambre, the great light, the great art of light and shadow. Yeah. Rose was met by Secret Service agent Roy Kellerman and Kennedy's personal physician George Berkeley, who told him that there was no time for an autopsy because, and now listen very carefully, Mrs. Kennedy would not leave Dallas without her husband's body, which was to be delivered promptly to the airport. That means, Brett, that the wish of Mrs. Kennedy is higher and more important than the Texas state law. So remember, the orders of a housewife are almost more important than state law. They did not read the Bible. What? Okay. According to Robert Carroll's The Years of Lyndon Johnson, the passage of power, the president's aides had literally shoved Rose and the policeman aside to get out of the building. Yeah, that is a part or an excerpt on that book. They had literally shoved the examiner and the policeman aside to get out of the building. Yeah, you're dealing with Secret Service. And then the strange thing occurs that police man also, was been shot in Dallas. Been shot, one in his right temple. 3 bullets. Yeah, that's really sad, and it's really a strange coincidence that these two would be kind of a look-alike, or at least similarity. But to be very sure, you would also have to just look at their teeth. Yeah, that would be very interesting or very easy to do. But who wants to have? Who wants to clarify anything, huh? Nobody wants to clarify anything. Everybody wants to have confusion as much as possible. Yeah, so who's who? Yeah, who's who? You can't imagine how deep the distraction is. But on the government level, that's really strange. Yeah. Also, all these people who are claimed to be the JFK ultimate killer, like James Files, at the age of 21. Brad, I have a question. If you are the government and you want to get rid of your president, yeah, who would you sign? I give you two conclusions. The first possibility would be a 50-year-old, very experienced hitman. The second would be a 21-year-old young guy.
Oh, I'd choose the experience.
Yeah, I'd say so that every time I come across that theory that James Fire at the age of 21 was the one who then been killing Mr. Kennedy, and then using, if I can remember, a mercury bullet. Mercury means Hermes, means Mercury means the trickster. I find it hilarious funny because I don't believe it for 1 second.
Right.
Yeah, Mercury. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, but it's just so much information which is not correct. And also look at the Auburn Nix film for the second time here, because after that fatal shot, or most likely the only real shot occurred to Mr. Kennedy, then these men on that stairs, they want to get away from the scene. Huh? Not before. There's no one reacting to the shots in 255 when Kennedy, or 22 something, when Kennedy was appearing after the Stemmons freeway sign, but only you see reactions of people going down on the grass and trying to get away after the fatal shot is coming, and it is coming inside the presidential limousine. Although you have to have be very carefully, because among them is Emmett Hudson, which is the jailer of the Dallas Didi Plaza. So I guess so many people are in, and of course Mr. Ike Aldkins, he has absolutely no fear at all, because he knows that yeah, you can imagine what I'm thinking, huh?
Right.
Yeah. They were seeking protection or defensive cover. Yeah. It was only after the fatal shot, 3:13. Yeah. Let's see the thing with Mr. Brugioni, who says that there was one frame here, but there were more than one frame of the fatal headshot with spray of brain matter that he referred to as a white cloud, 3 or 4 feet above Kennedy's head. Yeah, above Kennedy's head. Yeah. So that means that if that shot would have come from the front, yeah, then that spray would have been after, well, behind Kennedy's head, but not above. If it is above, then gunpowder is going on in the air, yeah, up, high up in the air, which means that the which means that the gunshot is coming from below. Yeah. He was the world's foremost imaginary intelligence artist, although many people claim, of course, he got no clue because he's not an expert. Brugioni is not an expert on Kodak 8mm film as Roland Zavada, who in 1996 said that Zapruder film is so fine. Yeah. Because Zavada spent over 3 months and said there was no evidence of manipulation on a Zapruder in camera original. Sure. Man. Yeah, you see, there are so many disinformation agents everywhere. Once again, Mr. Haag is here. Most likely Mr. Haag is looking down to the storm drain where supposedly there were smoke emitting from, so that was the illusion of a shot. Maybe there was a shot, maybe there was also a trick shot, maybe there was a blank, I don't know. Yeah, but that was the guy who said that, oh yeah, he has been covered with the brain matter of Kennedy. Sure. You have to believe that, no? He is part of the Dallas Police Department, by the way, run by Freemasons. No? So what shall convince me that he's not a Freemason, he's in on it? I know that Jared does not like to hear that, maybe, but I doubt anybody here in Didi Plaza. Yeah. Also, that when he was being covered by brain matter, that would mean that the shot was coming from the grassy knoll or from the right side. And that would not match Brugioni, that would not match the spray, that would not match all the other things. So that is in itself also a distraction. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. Yeah. Second thing is Jack Lawrence. That is the solution of the production of Connolly, meaning everything's a rich man's trick, that he was the storm drainer shooter and he killed the president. Interesting enough, Brad, so much for coincidences, he worked for the Lincoln Mercury car dealership. So once again, Mercury. Mercury, once again, is a trickster. Yeah, and that guy, about 30 minutes after the assassination, according to Jim Mars, he came hustling to the company's showroom, pale and sweating with mud on his clothes. Yeah, how convenient, huh? So another distraction here. You see that everybody with a clear mind would not have shown up with mud on his clothes to be some kind of a suspect for the killing of President Kennedy, huh? Yeah, so I highly doubt that all these young lads there were signed for kill the president. Yeah, you see that if the president should have been shot, then they would use somebody who was absolutely be reliable, and they would have several levels of it. So if the first one would fail, then they would have another one. So you don't have a bunch of youngsters then to kill an American president. Come on, please use common sense. Common sense is what God gave everybody to everybody. Yeah. So don't believe Beverly Oliver. She was also being heavily connected with Jack Ruby. I see all these people are working together. This whole Dallas is a pothole. Huh? It's a pothole. Tippit was a dead ringer for Kennedy. His friend jokingly named him JFK and Jack. And that's also what I talked about, that Mrs. Kennedy here on the trunk, she does not care about him, of her husband, she only cares about matter. Yeah, that's what later was shown. No? You will know them by the fruits. She's only interested in the money. Yeah? So we do not know who's who. And I don't care, because I'm not going in all the autopsy things. Yeah. Morning Star, huh? Lucifer. The article Morning Star, how great. Jesus Christ is the bright and morning star, but you see that Lucifer wants to be worshipped as. If you really see the Bible, then it's really more obvious, I think. Yeah, but we are on the end of that session here, I'm sorry. But I hope you could keep your concentration. And I hope you have some valuable clues, and you can read your Bible, because that's really a thing that I have to do this evening. After all this disgusting things in the entire world happening, it's war, theft, robber, violence everywhere. Yeah, where is love? Where is patience? Where is empathy? Where is moral? Where is that, Brett? Please.
It's nowhere to be found, except for in the body of Christ, Michael.
Yeah, so
those are the Christ qualities, aren't they, Michael, that you just went through?
So these were my remarks to the sequences of pictures on the Dealey Plaza, that what you usually don't see. And next week or next time we will go into the real killing and the background motives of Jackie Kennedy, most likely. And then we will follow a certain part which we haven't found, because the part of the religious involvement also in the Kennedy thing. And we will soon face things that you will never have combined, I think. Some things must be really unique, but I don't find myself any pleasure in that anymore. No, I don't find any pleasure in it. I'm just doing it out of service at the moment, but I'm really glad when we have some more calmer subjects than the killing of not only a president, Brett, but of a husband and of a father. Mm-hmm. And of somebody who maybe was one of the few Protestant presidents of the United States in the 20th century.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't that something that you really see that your officially first Catholic president was one of the few Protestants?
Yeah.
I know that he was officially Catholic and a Knight of Columbus, but well, behind the scenes, you see that he had not followed the Pope, and that's, I think, that you have to really credit him for.
Right.
So I think, in the end, JFK was one of the better presidents that your country had. And on the other part of the scale, I think there are some guys like Ronald Reagan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Doing the opposite, yes.
Doing the opposite, yeah.
Yep, that's right. Of course, those that are of his ilk, especially the Bushes. Yeah. They've left a really bad taste in the mouth of many Americans, I think. But nonetheless, the majority of people probably don't care. That's the sad truth of it. And they would rather just, have the bread and circus. Yeah. They don't care for the truth, of course.
No, nobody cares for the truth, because that does not get any reward in this world.
Yeah, that's the truth there. Yeah.
Yeah, when you really see how much violence there is in this world, and then you read the Bible, if it is a book of Revelation or if it is another chapter, yeah, then you really see that, that this is a peaceful language most of the times. Yeah, but you see that it's all in the Bible. Yeah. It's all in the Bible, Brett.
Sure is.
So,
yep, it sure is.
So that I'm signing off today, and I'm thanking my beloved brother Brett that he takes the time and he takes on all these Kennedy sessions, and I don't give any estimation officially now, but I'm seeing the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for bringing us this study, although it is a really intensive, deep look into a lot of the issues that apparently were not addressed very well at all to cover up the facts, that they wanted us to believe that the lone nut would go and kill the president so that they could justify on, taking away any opportunity Kennedy would have had to make an impact. And of course, that's what happened. Is he was overwhelmed by all of the people that had, obviously conspired to do him in. And of course, we find our entire, what should we say, the media really following this logic of just completely discarding everything to do with anything conspiratorial, and likewise destroying even more truth. And yeah, that's kind of how it works. Is my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, as it says in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. Yeah, we have been destroyed. And it's up to you and I to restore that, what has been lost. And if we can't do that, then we might see some very bad consequences, I'm afraid. That being that we have given up in our protest. So I think that, yeah, that's very good, Michael, that you bring this subject back, because that's what keeps the whole spirit alive, is being able to point out the real trouble that's facing us, and it will come to a very, what can we say, focused point at some time in the future, I think. And we're definitely headed down a road right now where we're being forced into another situation that we won't be able to choose. We'll just be forced down this path, either accept it or face the consequences. And that's kind of where I see the future headed, is that we're going to be facing some consequences here in the future. And yeah, let's all get ready for that and be prepared for it. That's the point, I think, Michael. So there's a lot of different books that have been written on this subject, and yeah, a lot of the events that have happened in recent times also have been molded by this subject, and a lot of people have been compromised in what they believe because of this subject. And not that it's right, it's just that's the way that the world is going. It is going in that direction, and the Bible makes perfectly clear, like Michael just said. Like you have Psalm chapter 2 right in front of us. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Yeah, it's the same tactic that they've used throughout all the different ages. That, Christ really has no place in this world, because Christ is not of this world. I think that's really clearly the point. Christ is not of the world, therefore why should we have anything to do with the world? Why should the Spirit of Christ have anything to do with this world? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever might believe in him might be saved. I think that's the point. There is a duty we have to the gospel, a duty that we have to our brethren. But as far as those that are wanting to get the, what can we say, the goods of the world, the services of the world, the luxuries, the iniquity of, these so-called fruits, which are actually wickedness. So, yeah, all those who love Christ obviously know that the hatred that this world has is toward Christ. It's towards his people. So there is a big division going on. And yeah, we're definitely going to be looking at some of these problems in the future, I think. So the more we deal with it now, the better. All right, Michael, thank you for joining us today, and looking forward to continuing with this series next time. Maranatha.